Gentlemen, we're going to pick up on the early modern English theater companies from the top. So some of you guys might be hearing this twice. So there were 6 jobs for people in early modern English theater companies, and the most prominent one was the sharer. So the sharer is equivalent to a modern-day shareholder in a company. As a shareholder puts in his or her money, that person becomes a part owner of the company and hopefully will then benefit from whatever profits the company makes. So too with a sharer. A sharer would put up his money, in this case only men, his money, and because he had a financial stake in it, he would get the best roles. He would be the Hamlets of the world, the Shylocks of the world, and he would hopefully benefit financially from the financial investment that he made. A hired man was a younger person who wanted to become an actor, and it would be a sort of apprentice program for young actors. They would get the lesser roles in the plays, and eventually, if they were good enough actors and they had saved up enough money, they might be invited to become a sharer in the company. On a quiz, if you put shareholder, I will mark it wrong. The term is sharer. All right, then there was the bookholder. In Shakespeare's day, it wasn't easy or convenient or financially expedient to whip over to the copy store and photocopy the plays. So there would be one main script, and then the bookholder would copy out individual parts for each actor. So those individual parts wouldn't make much sense without being able to look at the parts of everybody around him. So the bookholder would be in charge of the book. During performances and during rehearsals, the bookholder would be the person who knew where everybody was supposed to be. Firemen. There were a lot of pyrotechnics in the early modern theater. They liked the spectacle of fire. So the firemen would both start fires and put them out. So for instance, during a performance of Henry VIII, the firemen did a cannon blast, but unfortunately a spark from the cannon landed on the thatched roof of the theater, and the theater burned to the ground. The firemen were unable, because of where the spark landed and the swiftness of the fire, to put it out. Then there were musicians. There were a lot of music. There was a lot of music in Shakespeare's plays, and the musicians would sit right on the stage. And then the gatherers were the people who would go out into the community and let people know what was playing later that afternoon. Got a tragedy at 2 o'clock at the Globe Theater, that sort of thing. Okay, let's move it on. Here we go. All right, the characteristics of the theater. It was outdoor, essentially. So this is a picture of the new Globe Theater in London. If you ever get a chance to go see a play there, you should do it. It is spectacular. It's just a neat way to see a play. And it looks like it's got a roof on it, but this is a thatched part, and it is not covering the whole thing. It's like a baseball stadium where part of it is covered, but you are still open to the elements, particularly if you paid for the cheap seats. There were no curtains between scenes, so you had a very nondescript stage setting that had to accommodate plays that were set in places as varied as ancient Greece, an island in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, the Jamestown, Virginia, prehistoric Britain. So the stage itself had to be nondescript. There was no movable scenery and no curtains, and all of these nonspecific settings meant that in order to set the setting, Shakespeare had to accomplish it with characters' words and actions. There were trapdoors in the stage. They had ropes and winches that were affixed to balconies and things like that. So you could have ghosts, particularly emanating out from beneath the stage. You could have fairies and witches and things flying around with the ropes and winches. They had elaborate costumes. Often the people who were the patrons of the theatrical companies would donate their used clothes to their favorite theatrical company. And for the people who, for the poorer people who went to see the plays, being up close and personal with those elaborate costumes, seeing them in all their vivid and majesty, that was part of the attraction of the plays. So elaborate costumes. There were very few props in the plays. There were no women, so the parts of women were played typically by younger men, often boys whose voices hadn't yet changed. And there were very few written scripts, as we said before. So that is your introduction to Shakespeare. Oops, the quiz will be on the things that are in these slides, and also anything that I said. So I'm sure you all do well. The Moodle quiz will be open until midnight on Sunday night. Good luck.